All right, ladies, you know when you go to a baby shower and they ask you to write down a piece of advice for the new mom? Well, I don't know about you, but I always draw a blank. Do you too, Nathan?
I always have good advice for new moms.
Well, this is a fifth week, and so we have top 5 today, which is top 5 advice for new parents.
Yeah, let's get into that. Right up in here. Hey everybody, I'm Nate Warnock.
I'm Andrea Warnock.
And this is Family Friday. This is a show that we do every Friday where we take a look at what the Bible says about God's design for parenting and for the family unit and how we can better live that out in our families.
Yeah, and this week we depart a little bit from that, and we are going to do a top 5. So every month that has a fifth Friday, we do a top 5, and we've done some really interesting ones in the past, like top 5 grossest moments of our parenting. That was a fun one. And then, so this one, we're doing top 5 pieces of advice for new parents.
All right, so babe, do you have any parameters to talk about first? Like, is there
No.
anything you were thinking about as you were thinking about this?
No, I feel like I have one honorable mention one, but no.
Well, should you do the honorable mention first?
Honorable mention. Buy all the hand sanitizer because kids are gross. No, I feel like kids are like just germ pools and they just are little magnets for germs. And so buy lots of hand sanitizer.
Drink bleach, right? Wasn't
would
that?
not suggest
I think
that.
that was or inject bleach. I think there was a certain president that suggested that when COVID broke out.
That's ridiculous.
Yes,
Don't do
I think
any
he
of
was
that.
being silly.
Wash your hands a lot and buy a lot of hand sanitizer. And
Right.
still kiss your kids.
Oh yeah, I gotta kiss the kids. All right, that's it for honorable mentions.
That's all I got.
I have no honorable mentions,
Okay?
so let's.
Do you have any parameters?
No, I was thinking about this. I mean, I had a number of. I brainstormed like 10 or 11,
Yeah.
and then narrowed it down from there.
Yeah, and the way we do this top 5 is I don't know what's on his list and he doesn't know what's on mine. So this is the first time that we're hearing what each other has to say.
That way she can openly ridicule my list. And this is totally a list where I might say some things and she might be like, that's horrible advice, don't listen to him.
Possibly. All right,
Yeah,
so
there's a chance
why don't
of
we
that
get into that?
right now.
Number 5.
All right? What do
Okay,
you got, baby?
Number 5 for me is don't be so busy or overscheduled that you miss out on your child's life. I think we are a people that are very busy and that busyness doesn't slow down for much. And so
Yeah, that's good.
I would really strongly suggest, it seems to slow down for a while within the first few weeks of a child's life, and then it just kind of life picks back up and you are doing your thing, you know? But we can be so busy and overscheduled that we just miss out on the moments. And sometimes those moments aren't really like massive, like the first step or first smile or whatever. Sometimes they're just the little things where you grab a memory of just how your child is smiling and enjoying whatever they're doing. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know. I just think about that a lot as I have a lot of time with my kids and I'm blessed with that. And there's so many memories that I get that are just small little things that aren't like anything monumental that I think if we were just going, I would miss out on this.
Yeah, so I'll add on to that with one practical thing and one spiritual thing. So spiritual wise, if you're sitting there listening with your spouse, or even if you're not listening with your spouse, love to have you flip in your Bible to the beginning of Luke and have a look at what it says about Mary. Because the Bible doesn't tell us a ton about Mary, but the one thing it does say multiple times at the beginning of Luke is that she was a woman who pondered these things in her heart. Right? She lived in the moment and she enjoyed being a daughter of God even before she was Jesus' mother, and I'm sure continued to just ponder these things up even as Jesus' mother. So that's the spiritual thing. Excuse me. The practical thing, there's a website /app called Keepsake. How do you spell that? It's like
QEEPSAKE.
Yeah, which is a pretty cool site. So it costs money, so you got to decide if it's worth that or not. But they'll text out questions about your kids every day that you can just to actually text it to your phone, and then you can text back, and it will record your text answers, and then you can make books, and you can send pictures. Yeah, you can just text in a picture of your kids with whatever the caption you want it to be. It'll save all those things in one central place. It's pretty cool. There are times when there are times when I fall way behind on questions, and then I'll try and get caught up on some of them, and so it can be a lot if you really try and keep up with it. But it's a cool place to just centralize all that stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. That's good. That's a good suggestion.
Thanks, babe. Okay, my number 5 is some of mine. I felt like my list was going to be kind of not specific, and yours would be really specific. But for number 5, I think mine's more specific than yours is. So my number 5 is do normal stuff around the baby, even if that normal stuff is loud.
Oh,
so
yes.
particularly if you're a first-time parent, we were sort of trained with this idea that we bring the baby home and then we lay them down quietly.
Yeah, this is great.
And we whisper around the baby. But don't do that, right? I mean, sometime Google what it sounds like inside the womb, and it sounds not unlike a freight train. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it sounds like, because first of all, your baby's in a sack of water, which amplifies sound, right? If you've ever been under a pool and listened to the sounds outside the pool, they get amplified. But then
it mutes the sound a little bit.
But then also amplifies it. But then also you have blood running through that. So it's the sound of your blood and your heartbeat running through that sack of water, and it's loud.
And my voice and the mother's voice, and all the noises on the outside. They're hearing all that.
Sure. So my piece of advice is don't stop vacuuming the house when the baby's asleep, or playing with your other kids, or doing what other things you want to do, even when the baby's sleeping, because you will start training them to sleep through all of those things, which will ultimately make your life much easier.
Sure.
So that's my number 5. Do normal stuff around the baby, even if that stuff is loud.
Oddly, our number 4 is terrible at sleeping through.
Our number 4 child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Noises and things like that. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah. That is weird. Defective.
Sometimes it's just a weird child.
Yeah, that's right. But still, piece of advice for you there.
All right. Number 4. If a child is, whether it's a baby or older child or whatever, I think if you were to get into the teenage years and do this, that'd be weird. But anyway, if a child just is inconsolable or just really grouchy, I think the best thing to do is either take them outside, regardless of the weather, unless you're going through a negative 50-degree polar vortex.
Right.
Take them outside or
and leave them there.
No.
Oh.
Take them outside or get them in water. So
a head is, you don't want to have the head out of the water.
Oh, come on. Do a bath. Take them to a swimming pool if you can. Go outside and do a water table.
Yeah.
Inside with the sink. Something about getting outside or being in water for kids changes their world. And so I don't know what it is about that, but that helps a ton when we have the grouchies.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of advice I've got for you.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, my number 4 is not in conjunction with that. You do not want to do these things necessarily back to back. But it is something that sometimes parents just have to do. And I think it's something that we're sort of shamed into thinking is a horrible idea, and it's not always. And that is my number 4, which is sometimes you just have to walk away for a minute. Mm. You can have, we can have colicky babies. We can have a baby that's just having a horrible day. Mm-hmm. And you can only hold a baby that's screaming in your arms for so long before you want to claw your eyes out or the baby's eyes out. Right? And so sometimes finding a safe spot, right, like their crib or an open spot on the floor if they're not mobile yet, and just setting the child down gently and walking away to another room for a minute.
Yeah.
Right? And just taking a deep breath and, collecting yourself can be really important, because none of us want to lash out at our kids. And so getting in a habit of when things start to get overwhelming to just take a minute to collect yourself is a really important skill for young parents to master. And so sometimes you just have to put the baby down and walk away for a minute.
My mother-in-law tells a story that when Nathan was a baby, he was inconsolable for who knows what reason. She just could not get him to stop crying. He just cried, and it was the middle of the night, I think. And she couldn't figure it out, and she had gotten really frustrated, and she just put Nathan down in the middle of the floor and walked away, and he stopped crying.
Right.
he needed some alone time, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, she went back into, I can't remember if it was at night or during the day, but she went back in the room my dad was in, either went back to like the bedroom or whatever, and my dad goes, "Where's the baby?" But she did that. I mean, she needed a minute, and she put me down in the middle of the floor, and as she tells the story, then I quieted right down and ended up going to sleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Isn't that funny? So, my number 4, sometimes you just have to walk away for a minute.
Okay. Okay, number 3.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is ask for help or accept help.
That's good.
Frequently, parenting is hard. It's so hard. And it seems to be that the more kids that we have, the more we're willing to accept help. But maybe that's dependent upon personality. But if you're offered help, be willing to accept that or ask people for help. Generally, people in your circle are going to be really willing to help you out, and they're going to feel good about helping you with something that you need. So if you need something or have something that would be so beneficial to be helped out in, ask for it. Especially from the people who are like, "Hey, if you need anything, let me know." So be vulnerable, ask for it, make your load a little bit lighter when you need to, and I think that goes a long ways for both parties. I'm thrilled when a friend of mine says, "I'm really struggling with something. Can you help me out in this area?" I'm thrilled to help them out. So, ask for help or accept help.
Yeah, this is something for some reason in America that we've gotten away from a long time ago. That I just don't understand why we did that.
Yeah.
Because man, it's so positive for our children to be surrounded by more people than just their parents that are godly influences on them and that can encourage them in who they are as young people, and that goes all the way down to babies and helping share the load of that. So yeah, I don't know where we got away from doing that in this country, but it's a really great piece of advice. Okay, my number 3 is someone needs to get some sleep. So it is fascinating to Andrea and I the number of couples that have a baby, and every time the baby wakes up at night, they both get up for the entirety of the time the baby's awake. And while I have no doubt and look at that, you can have whatever system you want to have, right? So if you view that and you go, man, it's been such sweet memories of my wife and I or my husband and I up, while the baby's up at night just hanging out together, then great. I mean, you guys, you do you. Yeah. That's fine. But man, if there are not so many couples that we talk to that are like, neither of them, they're both exhausted, and especially if you have other children, right? That require you to be a functioning human being during the day, that we talk to, and they're just both dead. And it's like, well, why are you guys so tired? Well, we're getting up at night with the baby.
Why
both of you? I mean, why?
Right.
Like, one of you should get some sleep, and one of you should feed the baby. And if you look at, I understand if you're breastfeeding your children, that pretty much narrows it down to who has to be up or who has to be awake. But certainly you could, maybe work out a system of doing a bottle one time when the baby wakes up, or
so the way we work it out is I've always breastfed my kids, so I'm the one getting up in the middle of the night, and I don't resent that at all. He completely sleeps through. He's joked that, as far as I know, all my kids have slept through the night from the time we brought them home,
Right.
But he does not even wake up. So I feel sorry for the parents who, like, one parent's going to take care of the child, but the other parent wakes up anyway because they can't sleep
Because
through
they're
it.
light sleepers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
sure.
stinks. But
Sure.
still, stay in bed. But he doesn't even wake up. So it works well for him, and he's fully rested. But that also means then, he goes to work and comes home, and when he comes home, I'm probably taking a nap, and he's taking over because he's fully rested and he's
Right.
great, and I need some sleep. So
Right.
that's the way we work it out.
Right. Right. So whatever works for you guys, but for both of you to wake up just because he's waking up, so I feel like I need to be up, or she's waking up, so I feel like I need to be up. Just talk about it as a couple. Is there really a reason why both of us are getting sleep deprived, or how can we work this out so that somebody's getting some sleep?
Yep. Number 2.
Number 2.
Okay.
What do you got, baby?
Mine is be honest about your own mental health. So, as a new parent, whether this is your first time becoming a parent or your 5th time, becoming a new parent is a big deal. You're adding a whole human to your world, and that can be really hard. And some babies are harder than others. Some situations are harder than others. So
Right.
be honest about your own mental health. If you're struggling, talk about that. And
Yeah.
maybe you need to get help. Maybe you need to just have somebody help to lighten your load, or maybe you need to talk to somebody or whatever. So be honest about your own mental health. And also, kind of as an extra part of that, as before you have kids, I would hope that you do this before you're even married, but before you have kids, resolve the issues of your heart and any unforgiveness that you have, because those will poison your own life, and they'll also trickle down onto your kids and hurt your kids too. Those issues that you don't have resolved, that you haven't given over to the Lord, it trickles down into your kids and it hurts them. So be honest about your own mental health, and also resolve the issues of your heart.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, it's great. Really good. And allow me to share my number 2, and then we'll talk some more.
All right.
So my number 2 is, it's okay to admit that your new baby doesn't have you head over heels in love with them. So really, kind of along the veins of what your number 2 was.
Yes.
There are so many moms that we have talked to, godly women, God-fearing women, who, after their babies have gotten a little bit older, are all willing to admit to each other, yeah, I really had a difficult time.
Yeah, I was
bonding
one
with
of
my
them,
child.
For sure.
Right. With
our
you want to share that?
Yeah. I don't know why, but probably postpartum depression that I just didn't really recognize.
Right.
I mean, not probably, guaranteed.
Right.
And that, I think, really wrecked my ability to bond with our first, and I struggled with it for a long, long time.
And that's a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the hormones that go on in a woman's body before, during, and after birth are nuts. And so, it's completely understandable if things don't line up just the way you think they are. It's not a sin issue in and of itself. It's not. I mean, it's something that is just the reality of the matter. And to keep that inside because you feel like, I don't want people to think I don't love my child. Well, that isn't the whole picture, right? I mean, we've talked on this channel and on Marriage Monday in particular a ton about love being a choice that you make.
Yep.
So if you're not feeling love for your baby, that doesn't mean you don't love them. It just may mean that the bonding process isn't going the way that it was designed to go, and that's okay. But man, when I heard, these godly women all sharing with each other that they all went through this separately, all at about the same time, I thought, man, that makes me really sad.
Yeah.
That even within the church, there's this sort of feeling of like, I don't really want to talk about that. It's a part of it, and Andrea loves Jackson now just as much as any of the other kids. So it's not like it's, carried over into him growing up. It was a part of your story when you had him, and so really important that you seek help if you need to get some professional guidance on that, and if it's not going away and it's getting really bad, then please seek professional help too.
Yeah. Number one.
Numero one.
Okay, that was not helpful. All right. My number one is put your relationship with your spouse as a higher priority than your children or your child. So you've heard it before, I'm sure, but the best gift that you can give your child is a great marriage with your spouse. It gives them security. It is the way that God intended your relationships here on earth to be. He intended for that marriage to be the most important relationship aside from your relationship with the Lord, and then the relationship with your kids as a second priority to that. So it's the way God intended it, and it helps for a home to not become child-centric, which creates a whole host of its own problems. So purpose to put that relationship with your spouse first. That doesn't necessarily mean that your spouse gets more time, because children take up a heck of a lot of time, but they are priority, and they are the one that marriage relationship is the one that gets put first before children.
It's good, babe. Real good. Super important.
Very, yeah. What's your number one? My
number one is don't take yourselves too seriously. And this is not even a new parent thing. This is just a parenting in general.
This is maybe an adulting thing in general.
Yeah, it really probably is, but it will definitely bail you. It will allow you to grow closer as a couple, even though you don't get to spend a ton of time just one-on-one with each other, even though there's distractions and there's running kids here, there, and everywhere, and all the different things that we get to do as parents. Having a sense of humor about the things that are going on around you, even the serious things that are going on around you, is helpful.
Yeah.
Because it helps you as a couple not let the grind of life and the grind of parenting grind into your marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's having inside jokes and, even serious things that happen, being able to take a step back and think of those things, in the context of life.
Yeah, that's important.
It's great. And, hopefully you guys see some of that with us on our Sunday Night Live events that we do and through these episodes that we do together, that we try to not take ourselves too seriously. Because you'll never make it out alive. So that's my number one. Don't take yourselves too seriously.
Right.
That's what I have. Number one, bam.
Wow.
That's how I roll.
Page drop.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you learned something from the top fives. If you've got some of your own advice that you think would be really great, send it to us in an email or comment below if you're watching this. We'd love to know what your advice would be for new parents.
That's right. We might have 3 or 4 more kids, and then we can use that advice.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's...
Am I right, babe? Twins?
No! I'm way too old for any of that. Well, thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday evening as we do Sunday Night Live.
Yeah.
And until then, remember, God is for your family.
Your family. You. Yeah. Yes, you. Your family. Thanks for being with us, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Marriage by Design. If you were impacted by this video, like it by hitting the thumbs up below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and once you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new episodes release.
Excellent. Also, one of the huge pillars of our show is interactivity between us and you. So we would love you to comment down in the comments below if you have thoughts about this video, or if you have questions or other things you'd like to see considered in the future. In addition, if you'd like, you can email us. That's marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram at Marriage by Design Podcast, or you can find us on Facebook by searching Marriage by Design Podcast. Finally, if you want to, you can tweet at us. We do have a Twitter account that is at MarriageXDesign. Thanks, and have a great day.